We're here to idea everyone, to fire up your curiosity and connect you with the people and ideas that shape our world. Watch, listen, understand, connect, create. Let's move the human story forward together. The ancient town of St. Gallen in Switzerland has been a centre of learning for centuries. And since 1969, the students of its university have organised an annual symposium, bringing together leaders and thinkers of all ages from all over the world. This year, ideaXme joined them.
Hi, my name is Eliseo Biondini and I'm a student at University of St. Gallen. Today, we're here at the 52nd St. Gallen Symposium with Tycho Onnasch, a conference to bring global leaders with leaders of tomorrow to face the world's most pressing challenges. One of these challenges that concerns me is the advent of artificial intelligence. What is your opinion on this issue and the steps in solving it to bring the human story forward?
My opinion on artificial intelligence. I think it's one of these things that surfaces, right, every 3 to 4 years. I mean, I remember it very clearly in 2018, right? That was a sort of like a big year. Oh, AI is going to take everything over, right? And I think we shouldn't maybe get ahead of ourselves, and we should really actually make sure that we get this really smart, super intelligent computer. And when we get there, we can figure out how to deal with the challenges that come with it. But I think if we just focus on the challenges, then we risk making actual technological progress, and then we just kind of get stuck. So I think I would say that's a big risk with being a bit too skeptical about it.
Okay, strong opinion. Techno, you're the co-founder of Zest Protocol, an on-chain Bitcoin lending protocol. Would you mind explaining to us what the aim of this enterprise is and where future risks, especially concerning artificial intelligence, lie?
Yeah, absolutely. So Zest Protocol is probably quite easy to explain, even if people don't know that much about crypto. Right? So essentially, what it does is it allows people to pool their Bitcoin on the blockchain natively, from where it gets lent out, and people earn an interest on it, right? In a fully transparent way. So you know who is on the other side, who is borrowing the Bitcoin, what kind of interest they're paying, how the fee structure works, and all of those things. So essentially, it's a way for people to earn yield on their BTC in BTC and power the Bitcoin economy through the creation of Bitcoin credit.
Yeah, because Bitcoin sometimes are not that transparent as some may think, right?
I mean, that's a lot of the industry around it, right? I think that's the kind of the tricky thing here, because Bitcoin itself, if I send you some sats or a BTC, for example, one Bitcoin, then this is traceable. Right? We see my public key, we see your public key. If I know your address, I can see all your transactions that you've ever done. Right? So in that sense, it's very radically transparent. Now the companies that have emerged around it, some of them are maybe not as transparent, and we've seen that last year that can go wrong. So we're kind of really going back to the roots and actually building it into the blockchain natively, rather than kind of creating an unregulated company that deals with all these assets.
All right, thank you very much. You're also a writer of short essays, some of which I had the pleasure to read.
Oh, really?
Yes. However, when reading, one question kept coming to my mind: where does your passion for crypto values come from?
I would say for me, it's. I think always growing up, right? I grew up in the Netherlands with a German father, and always the stories came back of like money is maybe it's made up, right? And the hyperinflation in the 20s, and all these stories, and I always kind of brushed it off like this is not something that would happen today, and I don't think it's a real sort of large risk today. But that was kind of the background there, and then I studied history at Oxford, and that's where I really dove into especially financial history and how monetary systems emerge and get replaced, and as we go to this more multipolar world, right, where maybe it's not just the US dollar gets weaponized, right, as we see with the whole Russia-Ukraine thing, it makes sense for something else to emerge. It'll probably take a very long time, but it seems to make most sense to me that it will be something native to the internet, right? Like the one thing that has actually been growing over the last 20 years, while everything else is kind of stagnant.
Yeah, makes sense. Last but not least, do you think that humankind will be up to the challenge when dealing and controlling artificial intelligence? Or do we risk to become the guinea pigs?
Yeah, I think that's it's a question that people really like to talk about these days, right? ChatGPT, what's going to happen? What's going to emerge from there? I think probably the main thing to focus on still is actually getting there, right? I mean, if you use this tool, it's great. It's good at some things. There might be some dangers, but again, if we have the smartest people in the world who can actually push this technology forward, because there's not that many people in the world that can actually do this, right? Maybe 100, maybe 200 people. If we get all of them to focus on the risks and de-risking it, etc., then we might never get the actual thing, and we risk just stagnating and not making progress, right? And I think that's the real thing we want. It's a bit like with nuclear energy, right? Like everyone was like, oh, what are the risks? What are the risks? What are the risks? And then we never kept developing this technology. We're still stuck with nuclear reactors from the 70s, and we have an energy crisis, right? So let's solve the thing you need first, and then we have a really unique capacity as humans to then deal with the outcomes and figure something out.
Thank you very much for your time and for the answer, Techno, and enjoy the symposium.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for being with us for this episode of the ideaXme Show. ideaXme is a global platform. Our mission is to move the human story forward by sharing knowledge of the future. You can find us on all major audio networks at www.radioideaXme.com, on YouTube and Vimeo. Please subscribe.